You're welcome. So, what does it look like when you see gravitas starting to develop in a teenager who didn't have it before?
Well, the word really means evolution into a person of great respect. And it's not usually by education or by deeds. It's just by presence. And that presence is what young people see. For example, you mentioned to me in the earlier cast about just being at the place where you're supposed to be for so many years and not have a lot of excuses what happened. In other words, they see and understand what they don't see and understand. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So they have that eighth sense to be able to detect flawlessness as well as lack of candor, I guess you would say.
Right. It's kind of like helping them have a world view, a broader view. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And anybody that has anything different is usually very attractive to them. And I'm going to say different. The gift isn't in necessarily the gift. It's in what isn't usually considered a gift.
Okay. So, is there a difference between gravitas that commands respect and gravitas that invites someone in? And which one works better with a teenager?
Well, I think the inclusional part of gravitas is kind of what attracts teenagers because they feel kind of lonely and excluded to begin with. So anything that's warm, but not too warm to want to know everything about them, just enough to what they choose to see you, I think is the real message of having gravitas or anything like that, because they of gifts from God that we forget we got, and somehow or the other they zero in on people that's unlike them.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
So the way you say the word is gravite with the long A sound, not gravitas. Okay, I'm learning.
Well, it's kind of one of those words that's been borrowed from somewhere else, and it's pronounced, but it all means the same.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm learning, and that's what life is all about. So I'm learning a little gravite myself. Okay. Next question. What's the biggest misconception older adults have about how to be taken seriously by teenagers today?
Okay, ask that another way, a little simpler.
Okay. What is it that adults need to do to be taken seriously by teenagers today? Is there a way that they need to present themselves, a way that they need to come across to a teenager for them to take them serious?
Well, it's kind of funny that you would ask that because, we as adults try to develop a personality, something that is unusually gifted or we want to stand out in the minds of everybody that we meet. For example, we're well dressed or clean cut, good with words or whatever. But teenagers kind of have their own individuality in choosing which adults to pay attention to. It's kind of like the wind. It's unseen but strong. So it kind of varies, but we kind of play with the idea that it's uniqueness and it's that certain something that teenagers see, but they teenager to teenager what that something is, but that's what they see. And so when you see it, you kind of know it, but it's really personalized or very individualized.
I agree. Yeah, because the perception is on an individual basis. What I see that's interesting to me may not be interesting to someone else.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And they see it in an adult and they say, that's it. Right. And then they sort of gravitate. So all of us must do our very best whenever we're around, or be our very best when around teenagers, because they're very searching. It's kind of like they have a searchlight for personalities or a searchlight for false personalities. So they find someone that's rather predictable, and that's where that word gravitate comes from. Mm-hmm. Being able to earn it, their respect and their attention without having to work for it or work toward it or use it as the goal rather than it's just something that occurs.
Yes. I like the definition that I read. It says that gravitate, let me see where it says. It says that gravitate is about quality that someone carries, not loud, not flashy, but solid.
Yeah, and that's exactly what teenagers or young people are allowed to see, because they don't have the ability to put experience and education together just yet. So it's kind of like God standing in gift to them. It's a stand-in gift.
Right.
And so they know it's good or bad or right or wrong for them.
Yeah, okay.
So you can't make it, you just got it.
Right. So is it something that's earned slowly, or can a person establish it quickly with a young person who they've never met before? So if an adult's never met a young person, is gravitate something that occurs slowly, or can that be obtained quickly?
I don't think it's obtained, quickly, because young people usually use their skills to try to discern it or narrow it down as well. And it's the certain unexplainable part of it that usually stands out the longest and therefore becomes the most attractive.
Okay. I like that idea. Okay. Couple of more questions and then, we'll be done.
All right.
Okay, this one. You only missed 4 Generation Rap sessions during the 30 plus years it was on the radio. How much of your credibility with these kids comes from that kind of consistency rather than anything you actually said on air?
I think it's probably 50-60%.
Okay.
Because, again, it's that little light that shines inside of you that only you know about or you understand or you would even trust. And it's that part of that trust that young people sort of hook into somebody that they may not even know they're being hooked into. Mm-hmm. And it's that part that, so I don't think you can prepare for it. I think you either just got it. And it kind of gets back to a statement, just be yourself.
Right.
Because they've got a crap detector built, and if you're full of crap, they'll see it first.
Wow.
And it's evidenced by sometimes when children will refuse to go to adults or let them hold them or whatever, because one of the great genuine needs of young people is to be up high where the adults are, or be able to see up high. Mm-hmm. And so they'd like to be picked up, but they only allow certain people to pick them up so they can see the rest of the world.
Right.
So it's kind of a dependency, but it's sort of a joy or a quality that each of us should strive for, especially in all people, not just young people, everywhere. And that's where the word gravitate comes back to.
Gravitate. All right. Final question. Here's the big one. When you hear the word gravite, what does it actually mean to you in practice? Not the dictionary definition, but how it shows up in a room.
It's kind of like, and I thought about this a little bit. It's kind of like be yourself is the message. Because to try to be like anybody else will be a failure, or at least a failure unto you. And therefore, if you sort of let the natural guide in you guide you, you'll be a better person than trying to borrow from other people in other circumstances, or even try to fake it.
Right.
You know, it's that part that young people see. And I think, and one of the things, examples that somebody told me, because I asked the same question a little bit, and that was, it says, I see that you're here every Saturday at 7:30 to greet us at the front door. Mm-hmm. Now, that observation probably gives you some idea that somebody is watching what you do, but also the frequency with which you do it, and whether it's just a one-time thing or not. So it's kind of standardized assessment that God gives you, you know, to even rate the people
right.
who don't know or don't hear. And politics is kind of like that to some extent, you know. You know, we're in a presidential election and certain things are said or done which offend or make people not like you for that. And these people that do this for a living are younger people, because the younger people can see through what it is you're trying to make it through. And that extra added gift is to young people only. And so I guess when I go back and see that I thought I was just trying to be there myself and be on time, it turned out to be a very big part of how young people rated me. And that was the consistency with being there to greet them was very big in most of their eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the... Thank you, Jim, for this informative interview, and thank you, viewers, for listening. Follow, subscribe, and share. Bye.